And then the fourth element of the rhetorical situation is, of course, the message, the thing that you have to write about. So not only do you have to know your subject, and if you don't know it, that's why we research. But it also has to do with presentation. What one of the canons of rhetoric is called delivery, how you deliver this message. That's to deal with organization and things like that. So what we're going to work on a lot in this class in terms of presentation for your work is it's called the CCS style, which stands for clear, concise, and simple, depending on whatever audience that you have, whatever is clear and simple and concise according to your audience. I've also heard it called, KISS. It's a little more crude, but it stands for keep it simple, stupid. But maybe we don't want to encourage that in the class. We'll keep it like that. So you have to be, the goals in terms of presentation in scientific writing is brevity, but you don't want to sacrifice that, or you don't want to sacrifice what is flexibility. We each have our own individual voice or sense of creativity when we write, when we create something. So you can still have your voice in there. So you just have to make sure that whatever you're writing isn't robotic, that it does retain some sense of what William Zinsser is a writer about writing. He says that whenever you're writing technical or business or scientific information, there's got to be some kind of element of humanity in it. It has to sound as if a human wrote it. So when you're asked to think about style and tone and voice and things like that, what you're looking for are the things that make it human, or that make it sound human or inhuman. What I like about what Scott Montgomery says is that writing hides our failures. I have this saying that sometimes I'll put up on the board in the class, that writing is the process of failing. Writing is definitely trial and error a lot of the times. You'll write a lot and figure out that it doesn't sound good and erase it and then write something else. Nobody ever writes the perfect thing the first time through. In fact, there's really no such thing as the perfect written product. But nobody does it right or even acceptable the first time through. Anne Lamott, some of you may be familiar with, she wrote a very famous essay called Shitty First Drafts. And in it she says that everyone writes horrible first drafts, even horrible second drafts, maybe even horrible third drafts. Everyone does it. So what we have to do is we have to be flexible when we are working on revising our writing, to hide these failures, to put our best foot forward when we're communicating this information, because all of that affects our ethos, our credibility, right? Just imagine if everyone published their first drafts instead of their final drafts. No one would have any credibility as a writer anymore. So keep these things in mind. Keywords here: brevity, humanity in your writing. It is okay, in fact it is preferred, that you fail in this class in your writing. You cannot learn anything if you don't fail first, and that's how we learn. So I'm looking for a lot of failure in the drafts, because writing is definitely a process. Let's make process purple. Yeah, there's a process. Things change. Writing is a never-ending thing. So some of the characteristics then, particularly of science writing, that we're going to be emphasizing in this class is what I mentioned earlier, the CCS style. We use this clear and concise, simple kind of writing because that usually means that you have exerted some kind of control over the subject matter. It means you know what you're talking about, but you can still be flexible with that at the same time, right? don't forget to be human when you write. So to help us with that human presence means that it is okay to use first person. Limited, but it's still okay to keep that human presence in there. How about that? Human presence, that human quality in your writing. That's what makes writing interesting. The third thing that we're going to be working on a lot is organization in here. Different genres require different organizational structures. So we'll be looking at different genres and the different things that they require. Generally, these are the things that we're going to be looking for in our organization. These 5 things. These are the things that you need, and you're usually going to be writing these in these order. One where you announce your experiment or purpose, the subject of your writing, some kind of announcement. When we say announcement, you could also probably use the word introduction, but I like the word announcement. Introduction is a little overused. You need to provide some kind of context. Sometimes it's called narratio. So what have scientists done before you? What have your competitors done? Because remember, science writing is agonistic. What have your competitors done before you? And so then what are you going to do about it? Here you're getting to your thesis, to your proposal, to your main argument. Basically, this is, what is your response to this context that you've provided, this historical context, this scientific context? What are you doing and why are you doing it? And of course, you have to have your support. This is where your particular story. Here is the big story that your experiment or observations or whatever it is that you're writing about, the big story that's a part of, and then now here you're telling specifically what is your story, what is your support, what is the research that you've done, what are the observations, what are your methods, things like that. That's where all of this comes in, and this is the bulk of any science writing. Yeah, conclusion, I suppose, for lack of a better word, I guess. This is where you are telling us, right, what it all means. You're answering the so what question, the now what question, the big deal question. What's the big deal? Those are the kinds of questions that you're going to be answering there.